I'm one of those people who thinks in order to know where you're going, you have to know where you've come from. And I think it's interesting to note that on July 26 of 1775, the Second Continental Congress appointed Benjamin Franklin as the Postmaster General at an annual salary of a whopping $1,000. And Mr. Donahoe, I'm sure a lot of colonists thought that he was grossly overpaid for that work, but we all know how important it was in the evolution of this country. In 1808, the Select Committee on Post Office and Post Roads was established by the House of Representatives, and it was the beginning of a surface transportation program that has benefited this country ever since. One of my wife's grandfathers was a first-generation American whose father came from Germany, and he left to go back to fight the Kaiser in World War I, the world to end all wars, came back and became a letter carrier in Dubuque, Iowa, and became president of his letter carriers local. And when they started renovating the White House under the Truman administration, the people he worked with thought so much of him, they spent the whopping sum of $2 to get some of the timber from the White House to make a gavel for him that I am fortunate to have in my possession. When my father left the small rural community in Iowa that he lived in to go to Iwo Jima at the age of 18, he got letters from his mother that I am thrilled to have in my possession that only got to him halfway around the world because of the hard work and efforts of men and women in the Postal Service and postal delivery system. That's why I love letter carriers and postal workers. My dad came back and became a substitute rural letter carrier. And I know from growing up in a small town that that postal delivery service was often a lifeline that got you much-needed services that you needed to do your work and to function in society. But I'm very impressed with the fact, as the ranking member of the Veterans Affairs Economic Development Committee, that unlike many Federal agencies, the Postal Service has done an extraordinary job of employing veterans. And you brought this up in your testimony, Mr. Guffey. And here at a time when returning Iraq and Afghanistan veterans have an alarming unemployment rate of 22%, I'm trying to figure out why my friends on the other side of the aisle want to add to our unemployment problem by firing veterans, by firing women, and firing minorities who make up a large percentage of the Postal Service workforce. That's a question we all need to be concerned about. Some of my colleagues have argued that a union would never lay off a hardworking veteran postal worker. We know that's not true. We know that it happens because that's the way the Postal Service has had to make tough decisions. We also know that if we're going to fire middle-class American veterans that work for the Post Office, it's not going to fix our budget crisis. And that's why we have to fix this problem with pre-funding, because we know that it is the low-hanging fruit. It is the most clear, obvious opportunity we have to make an impact, and that's what we should be focused on. According to two independent offices in an OIG report, the Civil Service Retirement Service is overfunded by $50 to $75 billion, and the Post Office's FERS program is overfunded by $6.9 billion. We should let the Post Office transfer that budget surplus to fund their future health care obligations and make sure at the same time that we're doing everything to promote efficiency. And Mr. Donahoe, I remember when my daughter graduated from high school 5 years ago, and I was thrilled to find out that I could get customized stamps of her and her friends to give them as graduation gifts that they were thrilled to receive. So we know there's been a lot of innovation going on at the Postal Service to try to address these market pressures, to modernize, and to come up with new revenue streams. Can you give us some examples of what other things the Postal Service is looking at, like that stamp program?
Sure, I'd like to. One of the things that we've been focusing on from a revenue perspective is simplicity and making sure that we can really grow the business-to-consumer channel, especially for small business. So we've just introduced a new product out there called Every Door Direct, and the idea is that in a very simple way, if you're a small business, you can reach within a couple zip codes everybody that lives there. We're also conducting Grow Your Business Days right now at thousands of post offices across the country all summer long, teaching people how to use eBay, Amazon, to grow their small business. Congressman Micah showed me before he got that email on his BlackBerry. One of the products we're working on right now is the opportunity to show you what's coming in your mailbox today. We have that technology. We have that as a product going forward. So we know that we can do things for small business. We can also do things for people who like to have a little bit of digital in their products too.
Thank you. My time has expired. I'll yield back.
Thank you.